Bushwhacks were some of the worst days I've ever had in the mountains, or life, really.
Whereas Panther Mountain is totally opposite. It's a mountain on top of a crater.
I think the weather challenges on this incident were particularly difficult.
It was really the development of New York State. Catskills were responsible.
Now you're listening to Inside the Line, the Catskill Mountains podcast.
Yeah, it is definitely a crazy week. We all know that, as it is Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Just to let everybody know, episode 198, Diana, Nature Addict Lady, joins us tonight. Talk about winter hiking with dogs, especially Roxy, who is injured right now. What's going on again? Let us know.
She tore her other ACL. She had recovered last year from a torn ACL on one of her legs. And then this year she had a mystery problem with that same leg. And then while we were fixing that problem, she tore her other good ACL on her back leg. So she had surgery on both of her hind legs, and she's almost totally recovered now, as recovered as she's going to get. I don't think she'll be able to climb elevation again. That one leg is just never going to go back to where it was. So she has trouble going up the stairs, but she can walk. She can do flat hikes, you know. So it's nice that just seeing her walk on all four legs it was pretty amazing. So,
I mean, we'll dig more into Roxy later on. How old is she?
She's almost 11.
Oh, okay. So yeah, they're starting to slow down, and you gotta, once again, you gotta adapt to what happened. And that once we talked about this before, it's a big surgery, especially on both back legs. But once again, you could tell they're struggling, and then all of a sudden you do this surgery. It's a big step for all of us because she can't jump on anything, she can't rustle around, and they want to, but. After that, it's going to be night and day with how she's going to feel. So
yeah,
good luck. So once again, episode 198, Diana is joining us. So I wanted to know, are you, Diana, how old are you? I'm sorry to ask.
How dare you?
Yeah, what's going on there, man?
Jeez, I wasn't prepared for this. I forgot to write down all the comebacks for that.
25?
Yeah, 21 for life. You know what? I'm at that age where you forget how old you are, where you're like, am I 42 or am I 43?
Okay.
I think I'm 43. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean,
but that just makes me feel even worse because I'm so much more older and Diana's already like forgetting her age. And all I can think about is cashing those Social Security checks. That's what I'm looking for. And being able to go into places, which I do, much to the chagrin of my wife, and I ask for the senior discount.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I can't wait for that.
Correct. And so like I just asked because, I visited the Calvin and Hobbes exhibit up in Cooperstown, New York the other day. And, it's really funny how back then I was a kid, I was reading it, and Bill Watterson did stuff from 1985 to 1995, and I always read his stuff in the newspapers. I always like had his books and stuff, and I look at this and I was just like, oh man, that's how I was as a kid, and it's transitioned into like who I am now of like Calvin and Hobbes, as Hobbes is kind of like my mountains. And like, let's go on an adventure, or wow, that was an awesome time when they crashed down a bank of snow or something like that. And, it's just funny how I'm like talking to my wife about it. And I'm like saying, like, wow, it's crazy how in that time of like our earlier years and teenage years that we are being just like Calvin and Hobbes and just going on adventures, doing crazy things. And I don't remember much of that. And then all of a sudden, 20 years old to like 35, you're hustle and bustle and you're figuring out life and you're trying to get things in line. You don't care about like adventures. You don't care about, doing crazy things. I mean, you do crazy things, and then like when I hit like 35 and I started climbing again, I felt like Calvin and I started doing fun, adventurous things. I smiled more. I appreciated more things. And, it's just, if anybody was ever a fan, I suggest you go back to that and you'll just be smiling about the stuff he wrote because it brings you back. And then once again, with us climbing, we appreciate more. With us doing mountains, hiking and stuff like that, we appreciate the beautiful colors of fall. We appreciate a brand new snowfall. We appreciate breaking trail. We appreciate the summer, the winter, the fall, the spring. And that's what Calvin and Hobbes did. They just appreciated everything at the time. And it was beautiful to see. I don't know if you guys were Calvin and Hobbes fans like I was. I was a big Calvin and Hobbes fan.
I have to go back and look now. You know what's funny? I used to look at it because, like, when my grandfather was reading the paper, he would give me the cartoon section, and I would obviously I remember that, but I don't remember the specifics. Like, it didn't really resonate with me, like the way that you're speaking about it. I'm sure it'd be different now.
It will. It's great. Tad, did you ever read that stuff or?
No, I didn't learn how to read until a few years ago.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I'm glad you hit
and
that.
once I learned how to read, I stopped reading things because it's just scary to know what's going on.
Well, you can always not read those things. I mean, it's an option in life.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to pull up some Calvin and Hobbes classics and see if there's any truth to this. And then maybe start reading more.
Please.
I can read maps though. That I do read.
Yeah, you can actually. That's crazy. So another thing that happened was the closure of Monument 102 down in Arizona. So the southern terminus of the 800-mile Arizona National Scenic Trail, this could go through with the through hikers that listen to the show. It's called Border Monument 102, and the U.S.-Mexico border has been permanently closed to hikers. The closure happened recently, and Department of Homeland Security installed a razor wire that blocks all access to the monument. Now, for decades, hikers have used Monument 102 as the symbolic start and finish of the Arizona Trail, which is once again an 800-mile trail that goes through Arizona. It's a rite of passage, and the closure affects this tradition, and the Arizona Trail Association says this is nothing but a desecration. And there's no prior warning. It happened. Just people started like some of the through hikers walked up on it and there was wire all around it and no access. And I guess some of the people that actually were climbing or they're actually coming down to the monument got run up by a bunch of Homeland Security, Border Patrol and stuff. And the plan is to establish a new southern terminus. And they think that'll start around 2027. They can't reach it and are strongly urged not to attempt crossing, I would say, for, your life, I would say. And this really just goes bad once again with like traditions of hiking and stuff, what we have that's been going on for a very long time, and political, like border security and stuff like that. Monument 102 is definitely, the people use that as kind of like the Arizona Trail is kind of like our long path up here. Mm-hmm. So it's the same exact thing. And, kind of finishing at that point, it's like finishing on George Washington Bridge, touching that and then being like, God damn, I did this. Now they're going to touch razor wire until 2027. And that's about it. It's just I found that a good thing to bring up, just to be like, God damn, the fuck is going on, man? It's
yeah, it's sad.
Sorry, that killed the mood. God damn it.
Yeah, way to destroy the vibe, man.
Way to destroy the vibe, Stosh. Yeah. But just wanted if anybody's ever going to do the southern terminus of the Arizona Trail, watch out, because you'll probably get shot.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to scratch it off my bucket list now.
I was going to say,
for sure.
Definitely not going to be able to.
Sad.
Yeah, that's crazy. But another thing that I want to get at that it kind of strikes me pretty odd. Has anybody in this podcast right now ever seen Manhattan from the Catskills?
Can't say that I have.
Yes.
Catskills, not the Gunks, not the Hudson Highlands.
No, the Catskills. Yeah, a couple of friends of mine and I, we were hiking a giant ledge this summer, and one of my friends had these little, like really dried up mushrooms that we ate. And I could swear that from Giant Ledge, you could see the Manhattan skyline. But then one of my friends got really, really, really disorientated, started throwing up. We had to call the DEC to rescue us. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we did see.
Pretty sure.
the Catskill or the Manhattan's, some skyline. I don't know. There was a moment there I thought I saw heaven, and then the Rangers showed up and everything.
I
was
feel
in
like you're
focus
giving
again.
mushrooms a bad name. I
Right?
feel like this is an attack on mushrooms.
Yeah, I need to be more sensitive to the mushroom consuming community. Shame on me. I'm so like psychedelic incorrect.
But seriously, I found this article and I was just like, I'm pretty sure that's somewhat impossible to see it from any. And this says Hunter Mountain, which I'm just like, no. I'm like, you can barely see Albany, which is I think like 70 miles away, and Manhattan is like 103 miles away from Hunter Mountain. And it was actually pretty cool to look up some stats or facts about this. So somebody said on Reddit, well, I had it on here. I had all the stats of how like the Earth's curvature happens 8 inches per something mile, like every mile and stuff like that. So as you go down 100 mile, you lose 800 inches or something like that. It's a really weird equation that they said from Slide Mountain, you still wouldn't be able to see Manhattan by like maybe 200 feet because it's not the world. This was a year ago. So I don't know, that new thing is 1,700 feet. So, and I'm sure that in the Hudson Highlands, there are certain areas that are over 1,700 feet. Whereas like, what is the highest part you can see? I know Bear Mountain, you can see the skyline.
Yeah. You can see it from a lot of areas in the Hudson Highlands.
But not in the Catskills.
No, not in the Catskills. I even like I think, like Black Rock Forest, you can probably still maybe see parts of the skyline. But then anything further than that, I don't think so. Like, definitely not.
Here's the stat you were referring to.
Nice. I'm glad you got it.
Yeah, over a distance of 100 miles along the Earth's surface. The Earth curves by approximately 6,667 feet over 100 miles. This drop is measured as the vertical distance from a horizontal line, yada, 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 all this scientific stuff. The common approximation is 8 inches per mile squared. Works reasonably well, but becomes inaccurate over longer distances. This is why when you stand on the shoreline of like Long Island, you can't see the Eiffel Tower.
Correct.
Saying.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Makes sense. So I don't know if I wonder now if there's going to be a flock of people going there so they can see the Manhattan skyline, and then going to be just seeing distant woods. They can see the New Jersey, High Point in New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And then you could see, I can't even think of the farthest. Like nowadays, it's so humid that you can barely see going down into the Hudson Highlands and stuff like that. Like it's been, in the past 5 years, I haven't gotten a crystal clear day where I can see everything. So crazy. So I'll have that article posted in the show notes. So check it out. It's actually pretty cool. So that you cannot see it. So let's just say that. Sorry. Last part of shooting the shit. So Catskills and New York City reach an agreement on the reservoir battle that's been going on, I guess. So apparently the New York's DEP, which is Department of Environmental Protection, and the Catskill towns are finalizing a 2-year agreement that replaces the current system governing of how New York City protects the drinking waters in the reservoir. Now, the DEP will stop buying large amount of lands in the Catskills, something that the local towns has opposed for a very, very long time. And instead, the DEP is moving toward more targeted, science-based approach to land protection. They are putting more money in the agriculture, forestry programs, and apparently in the forestry programs, they have put over $200 million. The state has, not just in the Catskills, but around, reduce runoff, protect water quality, and taking local tax rolls that have been increasing over the years. A new scientific panel also will help guide future decisions about which areas are high priority for water protection, which of course is like stream beds, stuff like that, streams, and which could even focus away from the Catskills over time. Now, there's still tensions between the towns and NYC, because a lot of, once again, people are moving up here to New York City from New York City and buying land, and the New York State wants to protect this land because, as we know, the reservoirs are very, very valuable to New York City and the water and stuff. The towns want less control from New York City and such. So it's definitely been going on for a couple of years. I know that, and there's been good fighting back and forth, and they are looking. It's looking somewhat good. I'm not too knowledgeable in this sense, of course, of going on about protection as of in terms of like forestry and stuff like that. But I know that there has been trials and stuff like that of making the stream beds and stuff a little bit more stronger, so there's less flooding, a little bit more less impact when there is flooding, like barriers and stuff like that on the sides of the roads and stuff. Plus the runoff also affects the the reservoir waters as well. You got that dirt and silt and stuff like that. So it's definitely an ongoing feud that they're going to be negotiating and somewhat solidifying within the next couple months. So I know that I heard that the DEB backed out of everything because of how much the towns were fighting back and stuff like that, which is good, because if we all know the stories of the reservoirs, it's a pretty crazy story of, once again, how the eminent domain, and how they said, here's, I forgot what it was, like $10,000-$20,000. You got to move in 3 weeks or you're going to be flooded. Wow. Fucking crazy. Yeah. And speaking of that, Tad, sorry, we have Lucy Sante, which wrote a book about the 19 reservoirs, which is basically about that whole situation. She's coming on soon. It's going to be fantastic. So, cool. Tad, go away. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. So the one thing that the article that you were reading from points out is that the New York City DEP is going to redirect their protection program to stream bank protection work, riparian buffer plantings, etc., to minimize the amount of particles, sediment, erosion, turbidity in the water that flows into the reservoirs. Because the EPA, the federal EPA, requires a maximum amount of particles that can be in the water per whatever 1,000 gallons. And the DEC has tried to avoid building a filtration plant because a filtration plant is estimated in today's dollars to cost $10 billion to construct. Ooh. And about $1 million to operate it per day. So that's certainly a lot of money. But these stream bank stabilization programs have been used by the DEP for a very, very, very long time. In fact, all of us are familiar with many of them, or at least we walk by quite a few of them without being aware that they're there. So let me ask you, as you leave the parking lot next to the end of Spruceton Road, the one where the horse trail starts, and you walk up that road or trail, and the Hunter Brook is to your left before you get to the bridge on the trail. You familiar with the stream that runs along there to your left, heading out of the parking area?
Down by the little Hunter cabin, that little cabin that's...
No, this is so you're at the end of Spruceton Road.
Oh, yeah.
Right. You are walking out towards the big turn to the right, where if you go left, you bushwhack up Rusk Mountain. But as you're going out that road trail, before you get to the wooden bridge, Hunter Brook is on your left-hand side as you're walking uphill. That entire stream, next time you walk along it, you'll notice how straight it is.
Interesting.
And the reason it's straight is it's been bulldozed. It's had built up banks or berms that run along it. You can see them. It was done like 20, 25 years ago. There's trees growing and all this stuff. And then if you look really, really closely, you'll see how big boulders have been placed in the watercourse itself to reduce the energy the water as it's coming down through there, so it's less erosive. That's all of that is stuff that Danny Davis has pointed out to me, and that's probably, in my view, one of the examples that we're most familiar with because we walk along it. But you will see next time you walk along, look on either side of that water course, and you will see long parallel ridges or like I'm going to call it a windrow bank material, stone, gravel, and all of that stuff that's just been piled up. So if the water ever gets out of the normal water course, that it doesn't erode much further to its left or right. It's all been engineered and improved through there. You see it in Phoenicia. Phoenicia has that all the way up the Stony Kill. There's many, many, many of those. Next time you drive into Denning from Grahamsville and you bang a left to go through Frost Valley and you wind along the east branch of the West Kill, heading up towards like the parking area for Biscuit Brook, you will see all along that water course where the DEP has planted trees, planted grass. They've hung slope stabilization material, webbing, if you will, or matting. So they do this all the time. Davis was telling me how in Woodland Creek itself, years ago, 5-6 years ago, they spent about $6 million stabilizing that area. So not only has the DEP been spending money to buy land, they've been spending big money to minimize the extent to which these water courses erode away and then generate all that turbidity, the muddy or gritty water that then creates an issue for them with the DEP. So there you go.
The Catskill Center actually has a streamside acquisition program that we partner with the DEP on.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. And it's great because it also provides access for fishermen to get down to these water courses to go fishing. And when it's done on a broader scale by the DEP land acquisition or the Catskill Center, then it provides access points for hikers to bushwhack into the mountains.
Yeah. It's definitely, I see it all the time. When you go along, once again, you're driving along the roads, you can see those little trees that are planted with the white things in them. You can see them along Spruceton. I see them. If not many people go from Prattsville to Wyndham, there is definitely a huge spot that they've redone totally because of the turbidity that has destroyed the side banks of the river. That is basically in years, if we have massive floods, it's going to destroy those roads. And they have done it. You can see it all over the place, and it's great. You know, once again, this is kind of it's helping out the towns because of future problems we have with flooding. It's going to make the roots stronger. It's going to make less silt that hits everything and stuff. But I don't know if it's going to be enough to help. Once again, the towns and stuff when we have these major floods. I mean, nothing. Yeah. You can't beat the water. The water is always going to win.
Yeah, well, it's a game of statistics, and every now and then you have that proverbial 100-year storm, and they're not necessarily 100 years apart. But when we had what was it, Sandy and Irene, they were literally within the same month, and it really was devastating in the Catskills, and then it has kind of like a long-term impact on the reservoir system. The other thing I'll point out is that all of this work, or predominantly all of it, the stream bank stabilization, the water course work, and things like that, they're done mainly by local contractors. So you go back 50, 75, 100 years, there was different industries over time in the Catskills, one of which was logging, which is somewhat, been scaled back over the last 25, 50 years. But one of the industries that's grown up over the last 50 years has been this type of construction or excavation work where you get DEP contracts and you go in and do stream bank stabilization and redirect or straighten out the flow of waterways so they're less erosive. All because the Catskills is nothing other than a big drainage basin for the city of New York to get its water from.
Definitely correct.
Nothing wrong with that, man. Gives us a lot of hiking opportunities.
Yeah. And, once again, I didn't know the Catskill Center did that as well, though. So that's pretty cool, Diana. it's all, once again, to help the Catskills and to help, I mean, we know that the reservoirs was a crazy event and that it brought a lot of tension between, upstate New York City. And we'll find about that later in later episodes. So it's going to be interesting. So
stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. So once again, thank you for shooting the shit and appreciate it, guys. And glad you were chiming in on this. Weird topics once again. But I'm going to definitely go to Hunter and see if I can see Manhattan from there. And I'll let you guys know. So big thank you to the monthly supporters, Bob McClin, Chris Kirby, and Jess Jotz, Vicky Ferrara, Mikey S., John Comiskey, Summit Seekers, Desert City Radio, Betsy A., Denise W., Vanessa, Jim C., and Eric. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. Greatly appreciate it. So, Diana, do you want to take this one over? You did the one last time. It was fantastic. Oh,
yeah, I love reading the sponsors. This is a good one. Well, I mean, they're all good ones. I shouldn't say that. That sounds like I'm excluding some. But capture your love story against breathtaking backdrops with Outdoor Chronicles Photography. Molly specializes in adventure couple photography, and she'll immortalize your moments amidst the stunning landscapes of the Catskills, Adirondacks, and White Mountains. She'll craft timeless images that reflect your unique bond in nature's grandeur. Embark on an unforgettable photographic journey with Outdoor Chronicles Photography. Don't hesitate to get a hold of Molly on all platforms. And discover the wilderness with Trailbound Project. Our expert-led hiking and backpacking education programs offer unparalleled outdoor experiences. Whether you're a beginner or seasoned adventurer, join us to learn essential skills, explore stunning trails, and connect with nature. Start your journey today with Trailbound Project and unlock the wonders of the great outdoors. I really like that they started having like all women's journeys as well, like adventures. I think that's really nice, like add on for them. They just started, I think, this year. And I know for me as a woman, that's how I got into hiking more, was finding all female hiking groups that I was comfortable with first. And then I explored more. But so I think that's really helpful for a lot of us.
Yeah. Those guys are fantastic. Trailbound Project. I'm looking to get my wilderness first aid and such from them again. So,
oh yeah, their WIFA courses are great.
They are phenomenal. So, so big question is, thank you once again. Thank you, Diana, for reading that. I gotta figure out how to do this. It's not that easy to pick and pay, like choose or do that, like copy and paste that. So I want to do that. I want to do that, but it's not easy to read those on the spot, is it?
No, it isn't. And like the second you stutter, you're like trying to catch up,
Yeah. I do that all the time. And Tad's looking at me. He's like, God.
Yeah. That's why I stay away from that stuff. I'm such a prima donna.
Yeah. So Diana, thank you once again. So the big question, who is really outdoors? So mention the podcast and one of your hikes through social media, and we'll chat about it on the show. Tag us by typing at ITL Catskill MTM podcast on your post. So Chaotic Quixotic Lisa did the 6, then climbed back up again, climbed back again into the 4 instead of going down to the Fisherman Pass. Definitely understand why she did that. She told me, I was just like, why did you, go to Friday and then just double back instead of just going right down to the Fisherman's Path? And she said that she just wanted to avoid the Fisherman's Path because, as I agree, it's a bitch. I hate the Fisherman's Path.
Oh, I hate that. I think the Fisherman's Path in the right conditions is one of the best hikes in the Catskills, particularly without elevation gain. But there are times in certain areas of it when it's been particularly wet that it is, I'm not going to say more challenging, but you're going to run into mud. The water crossings are going to be obviously a little more difficult or challenging. And then there's also in the winter, it really can just be chocked full of snow and slow going, breaking trail through there. But I think the best time to hit the Fisherman's Path is super early in the morning before the sun crests over the mountains and really fills it up. You just get some great lighting in there in the morning, and it's so quiet there, and you just hear the East Branch in your footsteps, and then, the growl of a mountain lion or two, coming out of their caves.
And then it just becomes a dog, and you're just like, God damn, fooled once again.
Yeah. Generally, the worst time to do the Fisherman's Path is after you've done like the lone Rocky hike, and then you come down Rocky and you're going to hike back the Fisherman's Path, and then it just seems forever. But I do this. Yeah. Often when I do the 6 solo, I'll hike up the Fisherman's Path, approach Rocky Friday from the Fisherman's Path, and then bang out the 6 and go back to the Denning parking area. It's a great way to do the 6.
Yeah. It's fantastic. So thank you, Lisa. I think we're having Lisa on next week, actually.
Really?
So,
wow.
Yeah. So it's going to be exciting. She's been kicking axe and taking names, so taking peeks.
Yeah, we're going to ask her. Rumor has it she's checking off boxes on her grid.
Oh, nice.
Nice. So Daniel Passes was checking out massive bear prints on Bear Pen. That I shared that on our Instagram, and it got a lot of like reactions. Like those things were huge. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I know over time it melted and it expanded, but those look like freaking Sasquatch prints. Like, so that was crazy. Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah. And Diana, do you hike with him?
I did for the first time a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Nice.
We've been friends on Instagram for years, and we did slide together, which was really cool. And my friend Mary, it was her first time doing slide as well. Not as well, actually. It was just her first time. I like bringing people up slide in the winter because it's so pretty in the snow. It's like my favorite winter hike, and it's not that hard, so people think it might be harder because it's like the highest peak, but it's really not. So it's exciting to see everybody and their reactions. And yeah, it was so much fun hiking with Dan. He's great. We had a great time.
Cool.
Nice. Cool. Vicky Ferreira, Vicky F49 did Sugarloaf. Had some time with ice, of course, as always. Sugarloaf's always brings the ice. Richie's Nature Escapes. Richie, friend from my old SAR team, went up Overlook with his son. Looked like didn't have the greatest amount of views, but he had a great time with his son, as he says, always good time to go up there. Sean Scion 72 did a 7-mile fall cleanup that was 700 feet of elevation gain, which is I'm going to call BS on the 7. He says he has a hill in his backyard, but 700 feet of elevation gain. It's a little.
Yeah, I looked at those GPS tracks and it just looked like fake AI generated mapping.
Oh, stop.
Yeah.
Maybe he just put it on his dog, right? He's the one with the golden. So he probably just let his dog run around, and that was where he got it.
Well, no, because all the lines were so straight and methodical. Either he's got like a severe case of OCD, right? Or it was fake. Okay, but nobody, when you're blowing leaves in your backyard, nobody can do it that way.
So. True. So Sean needs to come up. Well, my backyard would take 5 minutes. So for him to do an 1.5-hour drive, 2-hour drive to do 5 minutes of the yard.
He should just to demonstrate his method to get those perfect, like choreographed lines, blowing leaves in his yard.
Needs to mulch them. Got to mulch them. Last but not least, Catskill Mountain Bruce Scott went up Catterskill High Peak and did Round Top as well to finish up his single season fall grid. So what's next? Let's see when Scott finishes stuff. So congratulations on everybody. Thanks for tagging us in the show. Really appreciate it. Glad people got out. Get out while you can. Also, if you if we think we're doing a good job, buy us a hard cider to support the show. You can do it on buymeacoffee.com. I call it a cider because that's what we do. Rate the show, please. 5 stars is only what we accept. So I don't get to review those, but still 5 stars. Do it. All right. Who's having something to drink?
Oh, I definitely am.
Okay. All right. What do you got?
This is this is an Adirondack mug. Remember Old Mountain Coffee? They are no longer, but this was from the Adirondacks. And look, there's Roxy.
Oh,
nice.
Sweet.
Nice.
And that's the Catskill Center representing. I am drinking chamomile tea. It's amazing. It keeps me calm at night and helps me to sleep well. And I suggest everybody have some.
Nice chamomile tea. Hold on. I'm going to open mine, Tad.
All right. Mine's not chamomile tea. I'm just saying that. Although I do have a mug of tea.
Okay. All All right. I got all over my phone. Sorry.
I did not get mine all over my phone.
Nice. Once again, I got to go back to
I
the
am
others.
going to get it all over my cup now. Or in my cup.
That's good. All right. Yeah. So I am having a Hudson North caramel apple. Time of year, time of season. You got to go with the flow, I guess.
Isn't that a repeat? Didn't you have that last week?
I think I did. I gotta have it again. I was gonna go with a 1911 sugar plum, but no, it's too good. Too good to pass up. Tad, what are you having?
Tasty.
It is. I think I got some on the screen. Whoops. So, Tad, what are you having?
I'm having a juicer bomb that my wife picked up for me. So, yeah.
Juicer bomb. Where can you state where that is from and stuff? Like juicer, I've never heard of that before.
Yeah. Well, apparently they bottle it in Hopewell Junction, which is over in Dutchess County, just on the other side of the Hudson River from me, as well as Hampton, New Hampshire.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's very juicy. It's the bomb.
The bomb. Nice. It's great to hear you say that coming from you. That was horrible, Ted. Da bomb. Nice. I like it though. So
I still say that.
I mean, yeah, it is. You got to say it though with like the enthusiasm. It's the bomb. I forgot.
Right.
I forgot who said that.
Wait until I have a few sips, and then
sweet.
I'll loosen right up, and it'll be the bomb.
Yeah,
everything will be the bomb.
You're getting there. So, Diana, have you been on a previous hike? What do you want to chat about?
Well, recently I went up Slide. That's probably the most recent hike I've done. Yeah, it was beautiful. It was about 2 weeks ago, not last weekend, but the weekend before on Saturday. Dan, my friend Mary, and I went up. I was craving snow, and I've been seeing people post snowy things, and I wasn't sure if I was going to get a winter hike in before I won't be able to hike for a few months. So I was like, I've got to get out there now. And yeah, of course, Slide always delivers. If there's snow anywhere in the Catskills, I feel like it's always going to be on Slide. It was gorgeous. It was like a winter wonderland towards the top. Yeah, we really enjoyed it. We saw a lot of people going up too. A lot of people that were planning on camping overnight, which I thought was interesting because that was the night. I don't know if you remember, there was like really stormy weather, really loud thunderstorms, and it was crazy. And I was like, honestly, we saw some people going up there with two dogs, and I was like, oh, it's going to rain later. Hope you're ready.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we have a rain tarp. We're okay. And I was like, all right. And it just makes me nervous, honestly, more for the dogs than the humans. Obviously, I worry about humans too, but the dogs in the thunderstorm can get very scary. But it sounds like they made it out okay because there was no rescue up on Slide that night. I checked. So, but yeah, it was beautiful. We used spikes towards the top, over 3,500. It really wasn't that icy. It was just like some of the snow is sort of packed down at that point. So that made it a little bit more slippery, but wasn't quite ready for snowshoes. And yeah, I think a couple people saw us with our spikes on and were like, wow, we really need those. And I said, yeah, absolutely. Also, in case you didn't know, we rent spikes and snowshoes at the Catskill Visitor Center. So if anybody wants to try them or might be doing a winter hike and it's their first time, I would suggest going there first, renting some first so that you know what fits and what you like and stay safe.
Nice. I didn't know that. Cool. I will put that in the show notes. And question, like, how was was that your friend's first time of wearing spikes?
No, she's worn spikes before, but she just never did Slide before. She's like, she's one of those hikers that I think doubts herself more than others, which I was like that. I still am like that with some hikes. But I reassured her that Slide wasn't like Wittenberg, where it's all the scrambles that you have to do and things like that. I think she felt really proud that it wasn't that hard for her, because she was like really worried that it was going to be hard, really icy. And once she got at the top and saw the beautiful views and was like, wow, this was really not that hard. And I said, exactly. I know your abilities. I know you can handle it. And I think she felt very confident after that. And I think it'll help her to challenge herself a little bit more in other areas.
Nice. Yeah. It's always good to have, once again, like someone who knows what they're doing with like if someone's first Catskill peak, because it can be way different, especially in the winter. Winter is definitely intimidating. And, those, like you said, those people were going up and, they might not know about spikes and like, oh, like you said, they wish they had those. And they're essential to this time of year in the Catskills. It's, going up, you might feel confident that you can like challenge this ice and stuff like that. Yeah, I got good grip, but going down is a whole different story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like so much easier. I think I tried to explain it. I forget who I was talking to that had never used spikes before. And I was like, honestly, you'll never not use them again. Even sometimes, like I have my spikes that I use when I don't always have to use spikes, if that makes sense. Like my older spikes I'll use going down if like there's a lot of, rocks and things like that where it's not icy, but I'll still wear them, because there are patches of ice. And then I'll use my newer spikes when there's actually like really thick ice that I need to use them on, or my crampons in that situation. But it's so much nicer having something to support you just a little bit more. It's like the second you take them off, and this is a big joke with all my girlfriends, we hurt ourselves in the parking lot more than anywhere else because we take our spikes off and think that we're still like, Spider-Man hopping around, being able to connect to anything. And then, we take one step and we fall down.
Yeah. It's always one of those times of that, you're just like, oh, I'm done with the hike. And then all of a sudden, it's an ice rink. Basically, that's what I call it all the time. It's an ice rink. So cool. So, awesome. Tad, I wanted to bring up, I went last week. I didn't really get to talk about the hike I had up Panther. So I'm going to bring that up because I had too much to talk about Southwest Hunter and Hunter. It was too good. So Panther, I went there. There's 3 cars in the parking lot when I arrived. I met 2 people going down when I was going up, or 2 people going down when I was going up, and then 3 more people that were going up that I passed. And great interactions. The people that are going down, I chatted with them. I actually gave them, the thoughts on the podcast and stuff. And then the people that were going up were British and didn't want anything to do with me. They were off to like the side looking at.
They were British snobs.
I guess so. Like the one guy said hi to me, and the other ladies were just like walking off in the distance. I'm like, the trail's over here. It's tough to follow, I'll admit. And then you're gonna have a tough time without spikes. But I didn't have spikes on, so it was fine. Good 1 to 2 inches of snow going up with a little bit of ice. Hit giant ledge. You could see slide. Of course, everything was visible. Slide looked like it had way more snow than any other place because it was blanketed white, and every other place wasn't. It was beautiful. So you could see where that wind came up and just brought all the moisture up and was blanketed with snow on the trees. It was beautiful. One thing I would like to point out that I think I pointed out this last time is that the call in between Panther and Giant Ledge is freaking awesome with weather. Always has wind, always has some sort of weather, whether it's fog or rain or something. It always brings the goods. And wind was whipping down there, and it was fantastic. A lot of ice in that area, of course, and you can see the drifts all over the place. Headed up Panther, started to get a little bit icier because it got colder, so I put the spikes on just to be safe, and I'm glad I did. I could just walk up those steep areas that had ice on them instead of like bypassing them off to the side and ruining the trail and stuff like that. Summited, came back down, and kept the spikes on until I hit right before the bridge, and it felt, even though they were the hill sounds, I kind of like, I forgot my Catulas. Catulas I like because they're less aggressive and they're easier on thinner ice. So I had the hill sounds on all the way down to there and took them off. And then I talked with 2 people on the way down, and I told them about the podcast. I left them some stickers and the business card on their car because I asked if I could, instead of just leaving there and leaving a trace. And after that, I did the good old Tad take 5, give 5, and I cleaned up a lot around there. There's a lot of freaking dog poop bags around there. There's probably at least 10.
Is this the parking lot itself?
Parking lot, and then I walked up to the kiosk.
Yeah,
as well. They have that little hollowed out tree, and there was freaking bags in there. So
yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
My experience there recently was no different.
It looks like I didn't do shit then.
Yeah, in just a week.
Yeah.
In just 1 week.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So it was nice. It was a great time. I was by myself for the whole time. I once again love that Helly Hansen shell is just fantastic. And I just love it. And it was winter is winter. It's just so another time that you just feel incredible. It just feels, I don't know, it's different feeling. So enough of that. And then I went up Bramley 2 days later. I had the Thursday off and I went up Bramley and just summited there, checked out the fire tower and then left. So good times. So
Was there snow up on Bramley?
Just very little.
Okay.
Very, very little, just a trace. Didn't have to use spikes at all. I actually went up and like halfway up, I was like, God damn, it's getting hot. It got up to like 38 degrees. And I was like, Jesus, this is too hot. And took it off and put the shell back on when I went up the fire tower. And then that's about it. And took it off and it was crazy. It was nice. It was a beautiful day.
What shell was that again?
The Helly Hansen shell.
Helly Hansen. Just so everybody knows, every time Stosh mentions it, we get a $5 donation from the Helly Hansen Corporation.
Yeah. Okay.
So just again, every time Stosh says, what was the name of the shell again?
Helly Hansen.
There you go. Another $5, just like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah, thank you. I'm glad I could actually contribute to this. So, Ted, what were you up to? I know you had something crazy going on.
Yeah. So, almost this time last week, Davis reached out for me. He's sadly going to be moving out of the area in about 6 months or so. And he's got a short bucket list of things in the Catskills that he wants to do. And I feel privileged that he's including me as his hiking partner on some of those items. So his plan for Saturday morning was to set out really, really early, hike up Woodland Creek to the summit of Cornell via what looks like an unnamed creek to the south of Cornell Creek, which is something that particular water drainage is something he hasn't hiked up before. So that was our plan. And that at or about, 5:45, 6 o'clock, I texted him a snapshot of the color radar for Saturday morning, which looked pretty ominous for the Catskills. There was a lot of bands of whatever blowing in, green bands, white bands, pink bands. It was wintry mix, I suppose you would say. So we decided to meet up at Bread Alone, hang out for a little bit, check out the weather, and decide what we wanted to do. And I think maybe our age prevailed upon us because we came up with Plan B. Because Plan A, in our opinion, entailed it was still raining when we were hanging out at Bread Alone. Plan A seemed to entail that car wash experience. You know what I'm talking about? When you go out hiking after it rains, and although the rain might have stopped 15 minutes, half an hour ago, but there's just so much wetness in the trees. Bushwhacking, every time you hit a tree, it's like it's raining again, right? And so with the temperatures, being high 20s, low 30s, and it being really, really wet, those are really kind of like conditions that generate that really chilling effect on you. So I don't know how it came about, but we decided that we were going to start at Fox Hollow, stay on the trail, hike up over Panther, Giant Ledge, and out to the elbow on 47. And we drove up to 47. We decided that we'd leave his car there because it'd be the most comfortable car to hop in after the hike, and then drove my Jeep down to Fox Hollow. Just 2 other cars in the parking lot. We set out. It was raining, and we had all of our, wet weather gear on, so we wouldn't get wet. We even had our rain covers on our packs. And the color radar said that it was going to continue raining for a while. But within a mile or so, our rain gear was coming off, and probably within another mile or so before we really started the ascent up Panther proper, it was feeling fairly warm for a day that started off with like maybe freezing rain at the higher elevations. Nonetheless, we continued our ascent up Panther Mountain. For those of you who have never hiked Panther Mountain from Fox Hollow, you're missing out. That approach up Panther from the Fox Hollow area. I mean, the woods leading up to it isn't all that spectacular until you get into the old growth area, but then it's very cool. And it gets rocky, ledgy. It's not technical by any means, but once you get onto the top of Panther, it's kind of like a sensation of being on a false summit, because you kind of think you're on the top, but you're not really on the top. The best is yet to come, but where you are is pretty cool. And unlike other mountaintops, really in the Catskills, kind of remind you of the fact that there are no true summits in the Catskills, because most of these mountains are flat tops in one respect or another. But we continued on. Once we got into the balsam forest area, there was more snow, but we were able to make it all the way to the summit and frankly back down again without using any traction. We had a pretty interesting conversation on the way up. One of the things we talked about is, of all the invasive species in the Catskills, the one that most hikers are not yet all that familiar with is killing off the beech trees, which is going to happen over the next 5 to 10 years. So when you think about it, we've lost all the ash. We're going to be losing a lot of the hemlocks. And then the most prevalent tree at the higher elevations, other than the balsam fir, is the beech. Mm-hmm. And so if those go, what is it going to be like up there?
True.
Right? Be very different. So nonetheless, we get to the summit and we're hanging out. We hear two voices. The first hikers of the day. It's an older fellow, maybe older than myself. I think he said he was 67. And a younger guy by the name of Raymond. And one of us, Davis or I, is pretty good at striking up a conversation with just about anybody they meet anywhere. So I started talking to this guy, Raymond, and it turns out that he is a professional photographer. In fact, he routinely gets published in National Geographic.
No shit.
Yeah. So we're hanging out, we're having small talk. Obviously, when you're talking to somebody who claims to be a professional photographer who gets his landscape photos published in National Geographic, you need to ask him, just what does he shoot with? And he rattles off some Nikon. And my only question of him is that a full frame? Obviously, it's going to be a full frame camera. And he says, yeah. And I'm like, well, where is it? And he pulls out this small Nikon, well, not small, relatively small compared to a big full frame DSLR. He pulls out this Nikon point and shoot, which is actually bigger than my Olympus Micro Four Thirds. And he starts telling me about it. And I'm familiar with the camera. And I have to say, well, familiar with the Micro Four Thirds format, which he wasn't, which surprised me. So nonetheless, I showed him my camera and he thought it was pretty cool. And so Stosh is looking at me like, why the fuck am I talking about this guy, his camera, me showing him my camera, what he thought of it? Because he goes to hand me my camera back. What do I ask him?
What are you doing in the Catskills?
No. I say, you want to take a picture with my camera? I mean, seriously, this guy publishes in National Geographic. He probably is a pro photographer. He has probably got Diana, one of those like $10,000 super long white lenses that only pros get because they don't pay for them. You know what I'm saying?
And the cheetahs, they picture cheetahs and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, he has access to all that stuff. And here I am. I've given him my eBay purchased second or third generation, highly used Olympus camera that could almost fit in your shirt pocket. And I say, aren't you going to take a picture with it? And he looks at it dismissively, almost to hand it back to me. And I put up my hand to stop him. And so he gets it. So he turns, and we're at that little summit lookout. So he turns, he snaps a picture and hands it back to me. So I'm going to post the picture. I'll post it. I'll credit him. It's not bad. It's going to need a fair amount of editing. Well, frankly, it's going to need a shit ton of editing. But I'll still credit him. I'll take credit for the edits. No, but he was a cool dude working on his Catskill list. The other fellow told us, I forget what number he gave us, but he told us he finished his Catskill list before Southwest Hunter was part of the list.
Nice. So he's in the low.
Yeah.
I
the
remember.
Low 3 figures. Right?
I would say he's in the low hundreds.
Yeah. But he was a very cool guy, and they were having fun together. And so they had started at Fox Hollow, and we did follow up 2 sets of boot tracks, and those were the 2 heading back. So nonetheless, Davis and I, we continued on to get out to 47, and that's where we started seeing one group of people after another group of people. And I don't know what the statistical proof would be on this, but I have to say that along that hike from the summit of Panther down to the elbow on 47, you run into more people that look like they don't belong or weren't expecting to go for a winter hike in the Catskills that day. Mm-hmm. And there was at one point where literally a group of 4 people went by us, and they all, I still to this day think they were wearing sneakers. Okay. And they had one pack amongst the 4 of them. Ostensibly, there was no evidence that any of them had any traction equipment, albeit you didn't need any that day, as it turns out. But you don't know that from the parking area. When you pull up at the parking area, some days you know that you're going to need a lot of stuff when you get back in there. And other days, you don't have a clue. It does look snowy up there, but you're not really sure what the trail conditions are. So the better part of caution is to bring at least something with you. But these people didn't have anything, which I thought was remarkable. But then just after we saw that group, then I swear it looked like I almost for a moment thought we were walking into the mall, because the people coming out, they had like cashmere coats, scarves.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Handbags.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what
very interesting.
Those 3 people that I dealt with was basically looked like they were going to the Rockefeller Center.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I'm just like, oh, hopefully it doesn't snow or rain, because you're going to be like, oh, I shouldn't have brought this out. It's going to get damaged.
Yeah. So, and so Diana tells us about her friend who went up Slide Mountain having like trepidations or appropriate concerns about what she was getting herself into and whether she was adequately prepared or not for her excursion. And then you have these people that seemingly were oblivious to, and God forbid, like one of them slipped and twisted their ankle and couldn't move on and had to sit up there for like 3 or 4 hours waiting for a rescue. What did they have to keep this person warm? I don't know. But so nonetheless, we continued on. I need to point out that when we got to the call, which Stosh spoke of, between Panther and Giant Ledge, there was a flock or flocks of birds in the hundreds. And Davis has that app on his phone, the Merlin app, that identifies birds. And they were common grackles.
Oh, nice.
Common grackles.
They're like black birds?
Yeah, they're like bigger than a blackbird, smaller than a raven. There were hundreds of them. And so Davis is there like checking them out and studying them and analyzing them. And I'm just standing there wondering, am I going to get covered in bird shit?
Yeah, right.
Okay. Am I going to walk out looking like snowman, but it's not snow? I'm not sure. So nonetheless, we continued on. There was quite a few not hunters, backpackers up there. There was 2 groups of backpackers, which I thought was interesting because the forecasted temps were going to be down in the 20s. I also noticed on the way out, I did pick up a lot of trail trash. There was a ton of trail trash from Giant Ledge going down to the parking area. And then in the parking area itself, garbage everywhere.
Just clean that, man.
Yeah, an amazing amount of garbage. So we did pick up some stuff. We could have spent an hour there and not even made a dent, in my opinion. Nonetheless, we headed down to Fox Hollow. I picked up my Jeep, and then we went to Brios.
Nice.
Got a slice. We each had a Westkill beer on tap. I had the Catterskill Hazy IPA, which was delicious. So that was my hike, the Plan B hike.
Nice.
Panther, Giant Ledge, Mall Walkers, and Trail Trash.
Sounds like a typical Panther Giant Ledge experience.
Yeah, and double
Sadly.
check, tomorrow or Thursday, I'll try to post this picture that this guy took on my camera.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what it looks like.
Yeah,
I have to be honest. I was one of those people that did Panther was my first high peak like 15 years ago, and I didn't know about all trails. I didn't have any maps. My aunt had a condo in Roxbury. My friend and her dog came. I said, let's do a little hike. And when we looked it up, we didn't even check the elevation. It was in April. I was like, oh, it'll be fine. It'll be warm enough. And it was really hard for us. But also there was ice at the top, which we didn't anticipate. We were wearing like, I wouldn't say hiking boots, sneakers probably, like with traction, but not that good. And we had layers and everything, but her dog also was not a hiking dog. It was a tiny little Jack Russell. So his little paws on the ice also got torn up. Like we learned a lot that day.
Yeah.
But I wish we had done more research, because when I looked it up, I just looked up, I think it was Hike the Hudson Valley or something. It said, had a little bit of information. I was like, boom, boom, boom. I took some screenshots and I was like, all right, we'll follow this trail and we'll be fine. And I learned. And that's why I like to educate now, because I know all too well how it can go.
And so statistically, people get by,
Yeah. I mean, it's a busy trail too, so you probably will get help, hopefully, if you need it. And there's more resources now than there was 15 years ago to learn from. So hopefully people are accessing those resources, or clearly not, or just going on Instagram and seeing these pictures and going to check it out.
Yeah.
So,
but at the end of the day, more often than not, we're just lucky. And in spite of our failures, our ignorance, and stubbornness, we get by without incident. So
yeah. And it's nice to learn from others. I don't know. We didn't see many people on the trail oh no, I'm sorry. We did see one couple that came from Fox Hollow on Panther that day, an elderly couple that probably doubled down us like twice, went back and forth twice before we could barely walk when we got to the top. And they were like, how you guys doing today? Such a beautiful day to hike. And we were like, I don't know if we're going to make it back down. And they were really nice. They gave us some advice. They actually brought up micro spikes. They brought up, maps and things like that. And I took that to heart. So I think it's really important to at least try to have conversations with people as you walk by them, even if they are dismissive. It's worth a shot.
Well, that's like an interesting dynamic on any hike, and I suppose it probably is true anywhere you hike, that some people are just in their own zone and they're in their own headspace, and they're just, you can say hi to them, you might get a response, you might not, and they're just going to keep going on, and that's what they're into. And then you get people that tend to be more social than others, and I kind of like vary from one extreme to the other depending on whatever is going on at the time. But yeah, I do like chatting with people, and I did have a pretty good conversation with Raymond. I got his card here. Raymond Selinani.
You have to tag him in your post so that we can check out his Instagram and his work.
Yeah, definitely.
He's published, I think he said he's got something from the Grand Tetons going on National Geographic. Yeah, I mean, the guy, based upon what he said in his business card, he seems totally legit, but I don't know. You can all judge it by the photo we took with my camera and the intentionally poor edits of it that I'm going to do. So it's going to be like way overexposed. So
it'll be
a watermark it. So there you go, Stosh. That was my hike review.
Nice. Well, good. Glad we got out. So if you can get out, get out. Catskill news. Let's go on to that. Volunteer New York, New Jersey Trail Conference, 3500 Club, Catskill Trail Crew, Catskill Mountains Club, Catskills Visitors Center, Jolly Rovers Trail Crew, and anywhere else you can volunteer is a great asset to the Catskills and stuff. So do it. Also, if you need stickers, free stickers, let me know. I will ship them to you free of charge. I just need your address. That's it. That's it. I'm not driving them to you. That's a little bit too far. So, weather forecast for this weekend. Since Diana went up Slide Mountain, I'm going to check out Slide Mountain. Once again, recorded on Tuesday, so weather can change. On Friday, it looks to be cloudy skies with winds up to 40 to 45 mile per hour gusts, a maximum of 18 degrees with a low at night of negative 11.
Ooh.
So
sounds like weather for a Helly Hansen jacket.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Saturday in the morning looks cloudy, but it'll become clear in the afternoon. High of 23 later on, but in the morning it'll be low as 16. Later on, wind chill will reach down to -6 in the morning, 14 degrees in the afternoon. Warms up a little bit Sunday with some clouds and then light snow later on. Predictions of snow will be around 1/2 inch to an inch later on in the night and day. A high of 34 later on in the evening, and then a low of 3 in the morning. So once again, it is winter. Dress up for winter and be prepared for anything and everything that Mother Nature will throw at you, because this is the time of year that it will throw everything at you. Rain, sleet, snow, cold weather, warm weather, sun, clouds, fog. The list can go on.
Temperature can be, 20 degrees colder at top, or later in the day, 20 degrees warmer. Just don't know.
All right, so let's get on to our last set of sponsors, and we'll get on to Diana. So discover Camp Catskill in Tannersville, your ultimate hiking store. Find top quality gear, apparel, and accessories for all your outdoor adventures. Our expert staff is here to help every hiker from beginners to seasoned pros. We also carry a variety of unique souvenirs of Catskill gifts. Visit us online at campcatskill.co or in the store to gear up for your next journey. Adventure starts at Camp Catskill. Also embark on a transformative journey with Another Summit. Another Summit is dedicated to serving veterans and first responders with free outdoor activities. Activities like walks in nature, paddling, hiking, and even backpacking. Join our supportive community to rejuvenate in nature's embrace. Experience camaraderie, adventure, and healing at no cost. Take your next step with Another Summit and ascend to new heights of resilience and joy. Apply today on anothersummit.org. All right, so let's finally get on to the guests of the night. Let's go. I say that all the time. Finally get on. So tonight, Diana, Nature Addict Lady from famous Instagram page, joins us to talk about hiking in the winter with dogs. Now, this is an important issue once again. We can't talk with dogs. We can't communicate with dogs like we do with humans. So it's very good to have a sense of, knowing of what your dog is capable of, stuff like that. And Diana's here to join us to talk about her times with Roxy. And you had a previous dog, correct, before Roxy?
No, Roxy was my first. No.
Oh, how long have you and Roxy been together?
10 years, 3 months, 4 days. No, I'm just kidding. And 12 hours and 5 minutes. She is almost 11, so we've been together for about 10 and a half years now.
Nice. So good. Yeah. So good. So how about real quick, the background on you, and then you can talk about you and Roxy as well. I mean, you were previously on episode 179. Once again, yes. You're a famous Instagram lady. So
famous. Oh yeah.
we had to get you on here. So, I mean, you've had many adventures through the Cats, the Guns, Hudson Valley area. So wanted to get you on here. So just give the listeners a little background about yourself. Go all out.
All out. I am an avid hiker. I have been hiking. Well, I guess I didn't hike as much as a young kid. My parents weren't like hikers or anything, so I got more into it as I got older, but I was always connected with nature. It's been kind of my thing. I'm also a photographer, so it goes hand in hand for me. And Yeah, so I've been hiking probably in the Catskills for about 15 years, and the Hudson Valley maybe a little bit longer, but about 15 years ago was probably when I got a little bit more into it and actually figured out what trailblazers are and what maps are, and really started understanding how trails were made, and did some volunteer work with the Trail Conference and the Catskill Center and Gear Forward, where we used to get gently used gear for children that needed gear to get outside in underserved communities. So I made a lot of different connections, joined a lot of hiking groups, and sort of just developed from there and made some great hiking friends, photography friends, dog parent friends, and have like a little community now, which is pretty amazing to hike with, go on photography adventures, and then just get our dogs together for hikes as well. I also work for the Catskill Center, which is amazing. So if you have any time to volunteer or give back, the Catskill Center is a great place to do that. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much my background. And I can get into like Roxy and I, which is my favorite topic if you want me to.
So, quick question: are you a 3,500 member?
No, I am not.
I
I've
think I asked
just
this last time. How many more you got left?
Yeah. I don't even know, honestly. I don't count because I'm not really trying to. I
Okay.
think I've done about half. I do the same ones over and over again. I've done slide
Hmm.
probably like 8 or 9 times now because I just love it. Wittenberg a bunch of times, so Panther and everything. And I do things more for the views. I'm a view person and landscape photography and forests and things like that. So I'm more of like into bagging sunrises than I am to
Hmm.
bagging peaks. But that's just my preference. I think it's awesome that people do have those goals and it helps them to get outside and have their own community. So yeah, no, I don't know if I'll ever be at 3,500, but I
You will
we'll
someday.
see. Maybe.
I'm with you on the views and stuff like that and the landscape and stuff. And once again, a lot of people don't like slide because it's easy, number one, and because it's like very popular. But
Hmm.
you seriously feel like you're on top of the world up there. It feels different than the other peaks. Then you're just like, I mean, you're on top of the Catskill High Peaks, but just the view is once again, and then once again, you're a photographer, so the views are your gems. Like
Yeah.
they are your reason. So how about you and Roxy? So let's get into that background.
Yeah, so my goals, I guess you can say, with hiking changed once I got Roxy because really it was all about her, what she enjoyed and the skills that she has. And she loves hiking. She loves climbing things. She loves the winter, hates the summer. So I kind of adjusted my hiking experiences to make her happy. So we didn't really hike much in the summer unless there was a lake somewhere close by or it was really early morning. That's actually kind of how I got into sunrises. We had to go earlier before it got too hot for her. And wow, sunrises are now my favorite thing. So it was kind of a divine moment for us. Yeah. And so I learned a lot with Roxy and hiking with her at a young age because I wasn't a new hiker, but I was a new hiker with a dog. And that was a whole other set of lessons that I didn't realize I needed to learn. I learned about training her, food, and all kinds of, gear that you need on a daily walk, but it changes when you're going on a hike because you don't have the same resources around if something goes wrong, and you have to really know your dog and their ability before you actually enter the woods in that kind of manner.
Yeah. It's definitely a challenge once again, and it's pretty cool that Roxy likes the winter more than she does the summer.
Yeah, that's how I got into winter hiking actually, because she loves the snow. She loves the winter. She can go longer, but I also have learned her thresholds with the wind when it comes to windy winter hikes and things like that and the temperature. But yeah, she prefers the winter. And it's interesting. Her energy level changes completely from summer to winter. Like she could go up and down a mountain like 5 times, whereas in the summer, it's hard to even get up?
I'm kind of like that. I do much better in the winter. Maybe my name should be Roxy.
I think so.
I think so. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that, Tad. So the one question that I have before Tad breaks into winter hiking with dogs, why would you agree to join this podcast again? This lame, mediocre podcast. Why not go on Joe
Lame.
Rogan or the Slosher podcast or something like that.
Well, I really like this podcast, so I think that you're kind of cutting yourself short there, but I like it because I feel like I'm talking to friends and I don't feel pressure. I mean, a little pressure because I'm sure other people are going to hear this, but like right now, it's just like a conversation between friends. And I hope that in this situation, we're going to also teach people that maybe are new to hiking with their dogs about winter hiking, whereas I didn't have this or I didn't seek this information out and I had to learn the hard way in some instances. Luckily, we're both still alive, but yeah, I hope to get some good information out and help everyone stay safe with their pups.
Yeah, I thank you. Really appreciate it. You coming on once again, and definitely enjoy it. I don't find this podcast professional at all. We're way too far from professional. That's what some people say. I'm like, no, we got coworkers here. No, we don't have any coworkers.
That's what I like to hear. I like to be unprofessional.
Correct.
Where do we start talking about winter hiking with dogs? And it occurs to me, having sat through and re-listened to the prior time you were on this awesome podcast that the listeners voted the best in the Hudson Valley or the region. One of the takeaways I had from your comments on that episode was winter hiking with dogs. A lot of it comes down to the dog you're hiking with. Mm-hmm. Some dogs are better suited for winter hiking than others. So why don't we just use that as the point of departure and tell us, if you can, why is it that Roxy excels at winter hiking as opposed to summer hiking, and why other dogs who are great at summer hiking would not likely be good winter hiking dogs?
Yeah, sure. So it was kind of tricky to learn with Roxy because she's not a shepherd. She's not a husky. She doesn't have super thick fur like that. So I couldn't automatically assume that she loved the winter. I really had to learn about her in the snow, her first time in the snow, and that she wanted to stay out in the snow and she wasn't shivering and she was okay in the snow. Because she has some thick fur, like I forget the name of it, but she's got thick fur, but not thick enough like a husky type fur. And there's dogs that have short hair fur, like pit bulls, for example, pointers, I think, and dogs that basically they have to wear jackets even when it's like 50 degrees out because they get chilly. So it's really about getting to know your dog and understanding their type of breed. And I'm a big, supporter of adopting and having mutts. And so there is a lot of things that you have to learn with a mutt that you may not have to learn with a purebred, that you can't look up, certain things. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't know that Roxy was a mix of certain breeds that enjoyed the snow and can handle the snow. I had to really learn and test things out first. And short-nosed dogs don't do well in the winter. They don't do well in the summer. They just can't breathe very easily. So, and then also you have to think about the age of your dog. Roxy, when she was a puppy, she wasn't as good in the snow. Not as good, I should say. She got colder quicker, just like they get tired quicker, like young babies, But around 1 year old, she was fine and she loved it. And her paws had adjusted so she could, run in the snow and be fine and not lift her paws up and be uncomfortable. But now she's older. So her temperament in the snow has changed again. And the cold does affect her a little bit more. The heat affects her a little bit more than it did when she was, say 4 or 5 years old. So things are always adjusting with your dog as they age, and whatever problems they might have or sicknesses or illnesses that occur too can affect that. So you kind of have to take that into consideration too.
Right. So it's you, no matter what gear you can buy at the store, if you're going to go winter hiking with the dog, you need to start off with a dog that is better suited for winter hiking than not suited for winter hiking. I think of my daughter, who now has a Chihuahua, which is a dog that is very, very, very small, but big in personality. But I doubt it would be a great dog to take on a winter hike. So where would you suggest somebody who has a dog It's not a short-haired dog. It's not a Chihuahua. It's a dog that appears to be big enough, husky enough, robust enough for some level of winter hiking. And the owner has done some level of hiking in the summer and fall to get to know how far the dog can hike. But what would be some good hikes that they can do in the Catskills or Hudson Valley with their dog to kind of see what its tolerance is for winter hiking without being out there too far to be at risk of harming their dog?
Yeah, and you have to sort of be able to have an exit strategy as well, if need be. And elevation really causes an issue with that because you can't get out fast when
Mm.
it's slippery and icy and they're shivering. So I would say lower elevation to start with. Also, obviously, it's colder, higher in elevation. In the Catskills, I always say Kelly Hollow is such a good starter hike for any
Hmm.
season, but especially in the snow because it's flat and you don't have to do the full loop. You can go two different ways out and back and see how that works. Roxy and I have done it many times. We snowshoed it, when she was younger, and she did great. Palmer Hill's also a good one. That's kind of in the Western Catskills too. If
That's
you're
pretty
looking for like
far
a
for you,
water,
isn't it?
yeah. So my aunt had a condo in Roxbury, so that
True.
was our first experience in the Catskills. So we explored the Western Catskills a lot before we even got into like the more popular areas. So,
Yeah, that view from that parking area is what made me fall in love with the Catskills.
oh, really, Palmer Hill?
Yep.
It was
I,
beautiful there. We
it's
took like
it.
so many photos there.
Well, good, good. Yeah. So, like exploring the like Rochester Hollow as well. Would you say that's a good one?
Yeah, yeah, because it's flat, so you want to keep it low, and there will be snow there, so you're going to experience the snow, and you also kind of want to think about the trail itself. When you get to a trail, like Roxy and I were going to do Overlook from Platte Clove one year, and because we've gone Overlook the other way, many times, but I was like, let's try it this way instead. I wanted to see Echo Lake and do a few things, but there was 2.5 feet of snow and the trail had not been broken in yet. And even though I had snowshoes, we made it like a half a mile and she was miserable
Hmm.
and she started shivering and the snow was like up to her chin and she just was not having fun. So we turned around and didn't bother. We, checked out Platico Falls and we went home. So you kind of have to be ready to turn around if need be. So, like, if you go to a trail and it's not packed in and there's like 2 feet of snow, that's probably not a good place to start with your dog.
So, what kind of breed is Roxy? Do you know?
She's a mix. I did like some DNA tests, and according to the DNA test, she is part boxer, part pit bull, part Eskimo dog, part Great Pyrenees.
Jesus,
So it's such a weird mix. Like, I don't know how this came together.
I'm sorry to say, but there sounds like this was a dog orgy.
Yeah,
That sounds
right? I'm
horrible.
All
like,
right,
Oh,
Stosh. I mean, that's so poor Roxy.
come on.
We're gonna be hearing from her attorneys.
Like it's just like that's crazy. I mean, she has fur, but then long fur. Like it's so the the
yeah.
the once again, you have to be observant with the conditions and stuff. What like when you're trying to, like you said, you went over to try to go to Overlook. Was she trying to break trail? Because I know a lot of dogs like to just hop and break trail. Like,
She did,
uh,
yeah. But then she quickly did not want to do that. Once the snow was sticking to her, and she had her jacket on and her booties that we use and everything, but she was just like, no, this is too much. I think it was just too cold for her. It didn't. The height that she was at, it just almost hit the top of her chest, and she was just like, you can tell she wasn't having fun. So we turned around. And she could do that for a certain amount of time, but also you have to think too, it's just like with kids. Whenever I hike with kids, it's the same thing. It's you can get to a certain point and they're so excited, but going back is really hard. So they might have all this energy to a certain point, but then you have to remember they need to keep that energy up for the way back. And like we can do that for ourselves and understand what we can handle, but with dogs and children especially, you don't know when they're going to be like, okay, I can't do this anymore. So you kind of have to gauge it that way too.
are there any times like when like Roxy like looks back at you and you can tell that she's uncomfortable? Like is there
Yeah.
any like a lot of people don't know that. I mean, you can see it with kids that they start to get a little crabby, but dogs have a different feelings, like.
Yeah. And when she was younger, she was sort of down for anything. So, especially when we would hike with a group, she always wanted to be in the front. She was always dragging me, no matter what the temperature was. She just wanted to be in the front and go, go, go. The first hike we ever did, the first winter hike we ever did was at Overlook. And I thought, oh, it's going to be easy. Everybody does it. It's probably packed down. And it was a really windy day. There was nobody there. And I think it was a weekend. And we were like, and on Overlook, and this was probably, gosh, it was probably like 8 years ago now. No, 8 or 9 years ago. But anyway, Overlook's been
Pre-pandemic, let's
busy.
just say pre-pandemic.
Yes. Overlook is still busy regardless. It's a busy trail. And my friends and I did it, and I had a jacket for her. I didn't have booties for her. Well, I had booties, but they wouldn't stay on. They were like the rough wear booties that are really thick. So she couldn't wear them. We tried them, it didn't work out. And it was just super windy. So it was probably like -5 degrees, going up.
Wow.
And
Wow.
yeah, I thought she loves the cold. Oh, she loves the snow. It'll be fine. She will love this. And she did to a point. And then we got closer to the top and the wind kicked up a little bit more. She had little icicles on her whiskers
Mm.
and looked at me, and she just kind of like shook a little bit. I've never seen her shake before at that point. And she shook a little bit, and I was like, that's it. We have to go. She's freezing. This is terrible. And I let my friends, continue up to the fire tower, and we went back down immediately and we went to the car and warmed up. Because my instinct, I knew she wasn't happy. I knew something was wrong, and I didn't want to risk anything else. And I learned later on, not only did I have the wrong jacket, it was not waterproof. It was like a cute, puffy jacket that I thought was waterproof, but it wasn't. So the wind and the snow was probably even making her more cold with a wet jacket on. And I also, later on knew when she's lifting her paws are cold. She can't handle that, her paws are too cold. We have to find a different way. And we found booties that worked later on as well, which I can talk about. But a lot of the things you see online that seem to work for other dogs may not work for your dog and may actually not be the best condition that you think it is.
So if I set out with my mutt dog that I adopt from the local dog pound, and I don't have any testing done, but I've done some hiking with it, and we set out to do a day hike, moderate conditions, what are some of the things you think I should be looking for that I might not know offhand to look for is evidence of my dog starting to succumb to the conditions, and I should turn around and get her back to the car sooner as opposed to later?
While slowing down, becoming a little bit lethargic, especially for active dogs, but I would hope that people would know their dog enough to know their behavior is becoming lethargic. So you should go on a short hike with a dog, a new dog, yeah, no matter what age, just to get to know them a little bit more. But if this is, you've had your dog for a couple years and this is your first winter hike, I would definitely check them for slowing down, shivering, any kind of behavior that is just not their usual behavior. It's pretty obvious once you see them turning and looking at you more when they don't usually do that. That's sort of a sign. If they're following behind you rather than leading the way, that's also a sign. That's kind of lethargic, even though it doesn't seem that lethargic. Trouble breathing, dilated pupils, check their eyes. That would really be a sign of hypothermia. You can check their gums, but that would be hopefully you would already notice other behaviors before that. They can have blue or pale gums, or even their inner eyelids could turn blue. So those are all things you should check for. But again, I would say start with their behaviors. If they look uncomfortable, don't push it. Why bother?
No. Why bother pushing onto that peak when, somebody, it's just like your common hiker etiquette, don't leave a hiker behind, number one. And number two, if somebody's feeling uncomfortable, you gotta attend to that person, because you never know what could happen, especially in the cold. We're talking about winter hiking. Stuff can go extreme fast. It could go opposite really fast.
Yeah, always be prepared to turn around. Like I with friends, with dogs, with anybody, really. If there's a stranger that needed help, I would still turn around to help them, So I hope that if there was a dog on the trail
Mm-hmm.
that somebody wasn't tending to properly, I would turn around and help them. I just think that's just part of it. Should be, as a hiker, that should be part of your mentality.
Yeah.
So what is the coldest or most extreme winter condition you've had Roxy out in?
That was at the -5 degrees with the wind chill. That was that was where I knew that is way beyond our limit.
Yeah.
And her limit in particular. I realized real quickly that wind is probably her worst nightmare too.
Mm-hmm.
So she doesn't like the wind. She doesn't like hearing the trees in the wind or the icicles, So I don't go on super windy days with her either. But I'd say I learned probably that anything about 10 degrees, she's fine with. She doesn't even really like to wear her jacket or her booties that I got for her. But when it gets below 10 degrees, that's when we put the jacket on, we put the booties on, and she'll wear it comfortably because it actually keeps her a little bit more warm. But then once it's 0 degrees, we're probably not going to be hiking up that mountain.
Mm-hmm. So you speak of these booties. What do you do when you encounter ice and she's wearing the booties? Do they have spikes on them? Any type of traction device? What goes on when Roxy is all booted up but comes into ice on the trail?
So I don't know how this works, but it works pretty well. She wears these things called paws, PAWZ. They're almost like balloons for dogs' paws. It looks literally like a balloon to me. They come in a pack of 12. They don't last forever. They will rip. I always carry extra on me as well. But they do last a pretty long time. And those are what she wears. And it actually helps with the traction. I don't know if it's the rubber or what, but she doesn't really slip. She's like a little mountain goat on ice and snow. And yeah, they've worked really well for me. I tried every other booty you can think of. I tried all the rough wear booties. Oh my God, I can't remember all the different names, but I've tried like 4 different companies, and I even had to send them back to Canada, one of them, because they said they were so good and they wouldn't stay on her feet. And then one of them, that they had the rubber traction on the end, but it's so rough that the dog's paw, the nails hit the end of it so much that it makes their nails bleed sometimes if you're climbing in them. So yeah, that didn't work for her either. These are like literally the only ones that I found that worked.
So I'm looking at these and they kind of look like shoes and gaiters with Velcro strips and like a cinch cord at the top.
Which one are you looking at?
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at the Sparks Paws PAWS. That's I'm on the wrong thing. I'm also looking at
PAWZ. They look like balloons.
So I told you earlier I can't read, okay? So let's just ease up on the illiterate coworker. Paws Z rubber dog boots.
They look interesting.
And, yeah, wow. So but when you put her in these the first time, doesn't she have like some reaction that this is weird and she wants to get out of them?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
How long did it take her to adapt to having these on her feet?
She still doesn't love it. She still fights me every time I put them on her. But then once they're on and we're in the snow, she forgets that they're even on and she just goes on. All the other booties that we tried would either come off in the snow because she has like weird shaped feet and thin legs. And they just never worked out. Or like I said, they made her nails bleed one time. And so she wouldn't even walk normally in other things, even though they say, you can train them and after a while they will adjust. And I do believe that happens for some dogs. I don't believe it happens for all dogs. It didn't happen for her. So these were kind of the best choice for us.
How long do they last?
They last a while. Honestly, I use them more often. She doesn't really need them that much. Only like I said, when it's below 10 degrees, when it hits like 0 degrees for sure. But I use them more often around my condo complex because they put so much salt down. The amount of salt is ridiculous and it burns her paws so bad when we walk around between the snow and the salt. And we do use mushers for shorter walks, mushers helps a lot. I know that Jeff, I think, mentioned that in the last episode, and that's my first go-to when it's not that cold and it's just a little bit of ice, just to give her paws a little bit of protection. We use mushers, and it moisturizes it as well, so they won't crack. But it wears off. You have to keep reapplying it. So,
and that's in less extreme conditions and stuff like that.
yeah. And for some dogs, that might just be enough. Like if it was a husky, maybe that's enough. Maybe that's enough to keep the snow from balling up between their toes too. That can happen after a while with their hair. But it really depends on your dog. I would take it all and try it all first and see what works.
Yeah, and that's that's winter hiking.
Mm-hmm.
We all do that as like even as humans. We just take it all. We hopefully we take it all and stuff and try it all. We don't. Some of us don't like Evo Lightning Essential shoes, and some of us love the the what are the other ones? I don't know the other ones. What's the other ones? Tubs, like
Yukon Jack. Is that the name of it? Yukon Jack?
That's a alcohol, I think. So.
Okay. Well, maybe you don't need snowshoes then. Just drink a bottle of Yukon Jack.
Yeah, I mean,
flop around the parking lot.
It'll keep you warm.
Yeah, different strokes for different folks and stuff. Same with dogs. Somebody might not like the dog, might not do well with those paws, balloons and stuff, and they might do well. And this is, once again, great information. You got to test it out before you can go up into these high peaks areas. And I've seen dogs in the high peak areas, which is crazy. And I've seen dogs enjoy breaking trail and hopping. And I don't understand how they can have the energy to do that, because halfway up I'm dead. I am seriously dead, and I'm breaking trail, and this dog is just like, ha, like, screw you, I can do anything. And it's just crazy. So like, is there any way you can tell? I mean, we talked about, of course, like the dog looks back, like distance, like maybe with moderate conditions, we have ice and stuff. Like, is there any way to be like, we're getting close to the summit, but Roxy's not having a good time. You might need to take her back, or, you might be like, okay, she can withstand this next 20 minutes and stuff. Let's summit and then come back down real quick and stuff. Is there any like tail sign of when you're just like, she wants to keep going, but I don't feel comfortable with taking her?
Yeah, I think that's just a personal decision for every dog parent. I have made the mistake of seeing her really miserable with the icicles, and shivering, and I knew we had to go right then. Like, I wasn't even playing around. So I guess I know her, and from then on, I really paid attention to her behavior, especially when we were winter hiking. And for her, it's more like she will tell me when she's not up to it, because she slows down. And when she was younger, she had energy. I mean, like I said, she pulled me up the mountain, down the mountain. And I always feel for other friends that have younger dogs now that are like struggling a little bit, or, I'll be like, okay, drop the leash. I'll stand here. You let her go, because I understand what it's like to have a dog with that kind of energy. And that's how she was. And when she would not do that, when she would slow down, when she'd hesitate a little bit to climb up something, I kind of knew things were going south, and I didn't want them to go further south. And then I adjusted my hikes according to that. So we didn't really run into that too many times after that first time, honestly, because I kind of knew what she could handle and what she couldn't. We did a lot of snowy, flat hikes in New Jersey, in Harriman, in the Hudson Valley, so I could really test out her abilities. And then once we were in the Catskills, I kind of knew what she would enjoy and what she wouldn't.
So down in like the Hudson Valley area, like what would you suggest? What we talked about, kind of like winter starter hikes up in the Catskills, but what about like the Hudson Valley and stuff? Is it kind of anything good?
I would say, let's say you're starting out. I would say like Harriman has a lot of nice lake hikes. Like Silver Mine Lake is a really nice one. You can also go up some elevation there. There's Black Rock Mountain over there as well. And it's not that long, and it's a little bit of elevation. I don't know, maybe like 700 feet. So it's not too hard. And then you can always turn around or carry on. Storm King is also a good one in the Hudson Valley. That has more elevation. You have more open rock faces so you can see what they're like in the wind. It gets a little windier there. That's a good test. Black Rock Forest also has things like that, with the elevation that you can practice on and open ledges that you can feel like how they are, and elevation and open wind. So I would really test it sort of in those areas. Bear Mountain, I'm not a fan of Bear Mountain just because it's so busy, but maybe you would be. Maybe someone with their dog. It's a busy trail, so if you're trying to see how they are with other people and animals, that might be a place that you could test that out. I didn't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it with my dog. So it depends on, I guess, your personality and your dog. So I don't want to knock anybody if they'd rather go on a trail that's busy to have other people around and feel more comfortable. Bear Mountain's a good one for that, I guess.
Nice. So has Roxy been microchipped?
Yes.
Okay. Like would you recommend that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I hope that everybody goes to a vet with their dog and gets their dog microchipped. Microchip is really just going to help if your dog gets lost and somebody else finds the dog and takes them to someone that has a microchip reader. You can get your dog faster. That's the benefit of a microchip. It's not going to track your dog, but you can get trackers. Roxy wears something called the Fi collar, and it's like a little GPS that goes around her martingale collar, and it doesn't work all the time when you don't have service, which is not ideal for the Catskills, but it will ping in certain areas. Like if you get service, sometimes you'll get service for like a second. So if she ever got lost there, I could find certain places where she's been. So I could still find her a little bit easier than not having it. So the Fi collar is really good. And it's not as hefty as like the Garmin GPS that the hunting dogs wear. But
Nice.
yeah, I'm less worried about that in the winter because she can't go as fast in the winter in the snow.
So is Fi collar Fi collar?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll put that in the show notes. That's really good. So I how much does it cost to get a dog microchipped?
I don't even remember. It wasn't expensive at all. It was like when she was a puppy, it was part of her first vaccines and microchipped immediately.
Okay.
It was just like a little thing they put in their back. Yeah. Definitely. Cool. I would definitely suggest every dog get microchipped because if your dog gets lost and someone finds them, they might just think they found their own new dog. Or somebody dumped them, So, but if your dog is microchipped and they get it checked, they'll say, "Oh, this was someone's dog. I'm going to have to give it back."
Correct. And just to let you know, the Fi collar is with Black Friday stuff is 70% off.
Oh, I would definitely suggest it. It's amazing. It's also, you can track the mileage that your dog is going on your phone. It alerts me when she goes out of a certain area. It's great. I love it.
Awesome. Does that often happen during the day that Roxy goes out of her restricted area and you get an alert when you're working that she's on the loose?
I don't have a fenced-in backyard, but sometimes when I'm working, especially since I've been staying with my parents as she's healing, my dad will take her out and alert me that she's left home and how long she went for a walk and where they went. And I always say to my dad, I'm like, at least I can track you if something happens, know? Like if he falls too, I worry, so at least, I can know where they are.
Yeah, little insight to how my daughters talk about me. Wanting to track my activities, and if I fall, that's wonderful.
It's true. I would make you get something on your phone so I could track you while you're hiking.
Yeah, they just want to know the life insurance agent's phone number.
No, I'm sure not.
So before we talk more about gear, what about deep snow? I mean, what's Roxy's tolerance for deep snow? I mean, we have snowshoes, snow pants, snow this, snow that. She has her little paws, booties that barely go over her dog ankles. I mean, what does she do in deep snow? What depth of snow do you avoid, and what can she tolerate when it comes to fresh snow in the
You can
woods?
Tolerate about a foot of snow. Well, and that's changed though over the years. In the past year, she probably couldn't anymore, but went from the age of like 1.5 to like 10 that she was fine in a foot of snow. She would hop around and be fine. But mostly for longer trails, she could do that for a certain amount of time, maybe like 2 hours. But if I wanted to go longer than that, I try to make sure that the trail is packed down or it's a trail that's used more often because I don't think that she would continue that kind of energy on throughout a full day of winter hiking. So yeah, probably about that.
Interesting.
And you think of the size of the dog, like corgis
Yeah.
are really low to the ground, so they're not gonna, I don't think they can comfortably hike in a foot of snow for, 5 hours.
I would
Yeah.
say that,
And
yeah. My corgi didn't last in our backyard. He let the other dogs break trail, and then he would go through. It was great.
and there's certain dogs, their hair, like my friend has a Wheaton Terrier, and the snow balls on their hair, and it becomes like these thick snowballs all over his body. And
Hmm.
you see people use, I don't know, like those mixers and stuff to get it off, but it doesn't work. I mean, he's tried oil, he's tried putting wax on it. It still happens. So if it's a dog like that, you're going to know pretty early on that it's not going to be comfortable for them to walk in a foot of snow because it's going to be clumping onto their body.
Yeah,
That doesn't happen to Roxy.
it's good. That's good. Short haired is always good.
So what different gear do you pack in the winter for winter hiking with Roxy? And in particular, what do you do for hydration in the
Water?
winter? Yeah. Still, you don't worry about freeze?
No, I have an insulated water bottle that I use to put water in her bottle too, but I
Hmm.
don't freezing hasn't been an issue either. I don't know, maybe it's because I sweat so much it stays close to my back. But
Nice.
yeah, I keep it pretty warm. Plus I use hand warmers. I always pack hand warmers whenever needed just to put anywhere on her or me or near my water if necessary. For insulation for Roxy, she has a rough wear insulated jacket that is waterproof, and I really encourage people to make sure that their whatever gear they get their dog is waterproof because a lot of them look waterproof, but they are not. So maybe make sure you check that for insulation. And she doesn't really need it on her legs. It just covers her torso and her back and everything. But some dogs that are short haired might need those kind of jackets that go down towards their legs as well. So there's different kinds like that.
So the rough, like you said, rough wear or rough wear jackets.
That's what she wears. Yeah, she
Okay,
wears an insulated winter rough wear jacket.
good. Okay.
Ruff wear.
Yep, I got it. I wanted to once again insert this in the show notes because it's important. It's very important.
Oh yeah, definitely. And mushers, wax, definitely carry mushers, or something like that, like a hiking balm wax for their feet. Because if you
Hmm.
don't wear booties, that can still help with the ice, and the balls of snow that can get in their toes.
And is that
Uh,
something that you reapply during the hike or just before the hike? So you're nodding your head up and down. You put it on even during the hike
yes.
itself. Hmm.
Yeah, I
Wow.
have it comes in a big container, and I actually have like a little Vaseline container that I just put a whole bunch of it in so that I can carry it to go and then reapply it if necessary. But I also have her booties that I put on. If I have to keep reapplying that, then it makes sense to just put her booties on.
Hmm.
Yeah, amazing. So like any like gear that like you would recommend that other people wouldn't really know about and stuff.
Um, well, the booties and the jacket.
Like you talk about like the water, like that's important food. Like what do you do with
Mm-hmm.
for energy and stuff like that?
Yes, I would definitely pack extra snacks. I mean, I pack tons of treats that are specific for her because she has stomach issues, so she can only have a certain type of treat. So I pack a lot of that actually, and just in case too. Just think of like if something happens and you're stuck overnight, you have to think of your dog as well. Like you pack extra food and water for yourself, you're going to pack extra food and water for your dog. You're going to pack an emergency blanket. You're going to pack hand warmers, a first aid kit for your dog that has bandages, tweezers, any other kind of medicines that your dog might take overnight too. If you should always have emergency medicine that your vet gives you. Obviously, confer with your vet first, but like Roxy has some certain medicines that she takes for her stomach. And if, God forbid, something happened overnight and her stomach blew up, that could cause another issue. So I keep those kind of medicines with me as well. Benadryl, yeah, an extra leash. If you have a dog that you keep leashed all the time, like Roxy, because she has a crazy prey drive and will go after anything, I keep an extra leash just in case the leash breaks. That's really important to have as well.
Yeah. So, like, is Roxy dog reactive, or does she like the other dogs?
She mostly likes other dogs now. She has been dog reactive, and that took a lot of training to break her out of that, which is why I carry so many treats.
Hmm.
Because that was part of the positive reinforcement training was distracting her with treats. So now, before she greets a dog on the trail, she looks at me for a treat to see if it's okay. Like, here, let me
Wow.
have a treat. And then if I give her a treat, she can go. But sometimes I have to just distract her with treats because there's certain dogs I know she's just not gonna mesh well with. Mostly German Shepherds. I don't know why. I guess because they're big and beautiful, but that's like
Nice.
the worst nightmare, seeing an off-leash German Shepherd coming running up to us and they're like, they're friendly. I'm like, oh, my dog's gonna kill your dog. They're gonna get into it.
Oh,
But
wow.
I'll hold the treats and distract her and try to hold her behind me and tell the owner to leash their dog or grab them.
Yeah, that's a big problem we have up in the Catskills, of course, is off-leash dogs. And us, yeah, I have a dog reactive dog, and it's an ongoing struggle of just, she's never gonna learn like that other dogs are okay with her, and whether to like if the other dog's coming out, you got to pick up your dog and then kind of like house it away so something doesn't happen. It's just, once again, that's a big battle to deal with. And you know once again, leash your dogs. Our friend, we had a couple people on here that recommend those waist leashes that the
Hmm.
dog, you can have like 6 feet of length and it goes around your waist. I think that's absolutely phenomenal. Darren White recommended that with his dog, and that was pretty freaking cool because, once again, you have a 40 pound dog pulling you that you're 180, 200 pounds. That's, you're just like a tree stump. You're just, I mean, it kind of feels weird, but that's a
Yeah.
good idea. Do you have that yet? Or
Yeah.
you, oh, she does.
Yeah, I was apprehensive to get it when she was younger because she pulled so hard. I mean, we have definitely made, friends with the ground many times, but I had to learn quickly to pay attention to squirrels and deer and every kind of wildlife because she would just go nuts. But and that was part of the training was to, give her a treat and get her distracted when she sees something. But there's some things like bear and deer, there's no distracting her. She just sees red and that's it. So we just got to get out of there. But that actually I learned from a terrible situation when I lost her once because my friend was holding her leash while we were going down a steep part, and this was in New Jersey, and she saw a deer and she went after the deer and the leash slipped out of his hand and she was gone like fast. She was like a cheetah, and we couldn't find her for like 6 hours. We were bushwhacking, searching,
Wow.
calling. I was crying hysterically, like ugly crying in the woods. Everybody that saw me was like, "You're gonna be fine." I'm like, "No, we're never gonna find her. She's gonna die." And luckily, we did find her. My friend who was with us, her dog actually found her. And she was in this spot where we probably walked by 20 times, but she doesn't speak or bark when I say, like, I didn't train her to do that. So she didn't bark or anything. She was just sitting there. Her leash got caught and she was just waiting for somebody to
Oh,
come and get her. Yeah. So
that's
it was like,
yeah.
yeah. And that's when I decided to get the thing that goes around your waist. And I was like, I don't care if she pulls me down, at least, I won't lose her. And that was a great purchase. And it's nice because then you have free hands too. And I really like it.
Uh, One question I have real quick is just like, what did you have to give up when you were hiking previously without a dog, like to have a dog, like hiking poles? Did you give up hiking poles because now that you have a dog, you have the hip belt and stuff?
Yes, yeah. Well, in certain situations, I'll still carry one pole, but I keep one arm free at least to pull on the leash if I have to. So kind of gotten down to one pole if necessary. I've lost hiking poles because I have brought them when she was younger and I was like, I can do this with hiking poles, sure. And I'd put them down for a second and she'd go to run after something and then I forget the poles. That happened many times, actually. People joke about it because I have mismatching poles because I'll carry one pole and then I lost the other pole. So I have to carry two different types of poles. But either way, I had to give up, both poles. I had to accept that I'll be carrying more weight, especially in the summer too, with the water, and accept that I'm going to carry two different types of first aid kits and food. So yeah, you have to understand that you will be carrying more weight no matter what. And yeah, and just know that you might have to turn around and you have to adjust your hiking to what they can do. Like even now, she's had issues and she can't really hike much. And I don't get to hike as much as I used to because of that, because I'm with her. And that's fine. That's part of life, you know? So
That's
I think that's
beautiful.
just, people have to understand that. Yeah, you have to be with them when you can.
Yeah.
So before we move on, let's talk about the kind of maybe my last gear topic. You've talked about what you have, what you use. What about, is there anything out there that you don't have that interests you that you would like to try out and maybe suggest to somebody else to think about getting for them to use with their dog and hiking in the winter? Like your dream list.
I don't know if it's a dream, but it's a curiosity for me. I see these out west a lot. I see that dogs wear the goggles, when they're hiking in the snow.
Yeah.
And I have looked it up because I was like, do I need to get those for Roxy? Am I blinding her in the snow, And I guess out west there's a little bit more, maybe, I don't know, more sun, or maybe it's just the longer days with the dogs in the winter and on the snow. And some dogs have eye sensitivities, so maybe that's why they wear them. So I guess I'm just curious about that. If anybody, I don't know anyone out here that hikes with a dog with goggles. But yeah, that's a curiosity of mine. And maybe some people's dogs need it because of eye issues that they don't know of. So maybe that's something people can look into too.
Good point.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I've been up in New Hampshire and more above tree line. I would say that's needed as well, as we need that. So that's a good point. Very good point. Up here, but still in the winter when we have sunny days and we have a lot of snow, it's just coming through those trees and stuff. And I wear shades 99, 100% of the time, unless when I'm sweating over them and stuff. But very good point.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. I mean, I guess we don't spend a lot of time over tree line here in the Catskills or even in the Adirondacks too much. It's, it's a nice view, and then we kind of are going back into the tree line. So,
Also, I want to know is when you say we don't spend much time over tree line in the Catskills, just where exactly are you spending any time over tree line? Please let me know.
Fire towers.
Fire towers. There's some lookouts that, some ledges, but especially when in winter, when it's cold, you're not really spending time there. You're going, taking a few pictures, enjoying, and then getting the heck out of there, back where the wind isn't.
I mean, in the Gunks, you're somewhat a
oh yeah,
parallel
in the
tree line.
You have far more exposure. I think.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So she's done it before.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Gunks for sure. Those aren't that hard though, but nice views, yeah.
Yeah. So like you still bring like normal kind of food, like I know once again you're supposed to feed dogs like morning, the evening, stuff like that. Do you carry like a normal amount of food with you for Roxy just in case, something happens, or?
Yeah. And also, Roxy is special. She has inflammatory bowel disease. So I actually have to feed her special food, and I feed it to her 4 times a day because when her stomach starts to get empty, that's when problems start to occur, which, again, these are all things I've realized with many ER visits and things over the years. But yeah, so I always carry extra food and make sure that I can feed her if she starts showing signs of empty stomach, and she'll start retching. Actually, she'll start like as if like she's dry heaving because she needs food. It's weird, but it does happen. Yeah.
I thought I had a complicated dog. I guess not.
My God, she has so many issues. And again, this is my first dog, so I don't know what it's like to have a dog that doesn't have these kinds of issues. Like, I wonder what that's like. That's why I always say you really got to know your dog, because
Yeah.
I might just be super extra careful in certain situations because I know the issues that she has, and I'd rather not exacerbate them in any situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I must have been lucky. Growing up, I had a few dogs and never had to deal with any of this stuff. And we didn't have dog booties, dog jackets, dog
Yeah, right.
wax, dog treats. When we left the
Dog
house,
coats.
yeah, we just head out into the woods carrying very little, if anything at all, and come back hours later.
I mean,
Good old days.
You'd also feed the beer to dogs, and they would be like cigarettes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the days. I was like, oh, my dog's gonna love the car. She's gonna have her head out the window. She can eat whatever she wants. She'll have an iron stomach. She hates the car. She will not stick her head out the window. She can't eat anything. A piece of bread will throw her into like a stomach tantrum for weeks.
Oh,
It's like,
Wow.
it's
Huh.
so crazy. And I don't know what happened to her when she was younger, but clearly something threw her off.
is she American? Sounds like she's American. She needs
Yeah,
health care.
Her healthcare is better than mine. I should say this actually. This is something that everyone should get, and this is probably my most important suggestion for anyone with a dog. Get dog health insurance.
Oh, wow.
Get it. It's worth it, especially if you're a hiker and there's all these opportunities for them to get injured and they're out there in the wild. It's so worth it. Her health insurance covers more than my health insurance covers. It covers 90%. She's been in PT after every surgery, and it covers her physical therapy
Oh, my
continuously.
God.
Yeah, like it's crazy. And I use Healthy Paws health insurance, so I don't know,
I'll throw
there's
that in
many
there.
others out there, but
Is it based by the size of the dog? How do they bill you? Is it size, age, breed, or is it just one price for all dogs?
I think it's based on all those things. I
Hmm.
got it for Roxy when she was a puppy, when she was like 6 months old. So she had no pre-existing conditions at that point.
Gotcha.
So all the things that happened to her happened later on, so they cover 90%. If
Mhm.
she was a certain breed, there are certain things that they wouldn't cover, like I think or only cover 50% of like, I don't know, a hip replacement if it's a golden retriever. But because she's a mixed breed and they don't know her breed, they cover everything.
Hmm.
It's amazing.
So what's the monthly cost, if you don't mind saying?
Yeah.
Well, it has gone up. When she was younger, it was very cheap. It was like $40 or $50 a month. Now it's
Mhm.
about $100 a month,
Wow.
which is nothing compared to the amount of surgeries. In the past 2 years alone, it probably would have been about $50,000 in surgeries that she had and tests that she had.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I would
I
never
mean,
be able to afford it. I just
Yeah. You could buy like
wouldn't.
a whole house full of dogs
Yeah.
for that kind of money.
yeah,
No offense, Roxy. I'm sorry. Oh, she's running away.
Yeah,
Hurt her
she's-
feelings. Leave it to
Right.
me.
like, screw you,
She's like,
Dad.
how dare
Yeah.
you?
What a talk about killing the vibe.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's I'm trying to think of some other questions like what's Rocky's like I mean well how about we break into post hike brews and bites. What's Roxy's post hike treat? Like brews, does she love to go somewhere?
No, because like I said, she hates the car,
Mhm.
but she doesn't mind. Again, when she was younger, we used to go to like breweries after hikes, all different kinds of breweries in the Catskills after hikes. And she was hard because she wouldn't chill. She wasn't like a chill dog even after a hike. Like she still wanted to get up and meet everybody and, play around and chew sticks. And then when she hit about 7 or 8, she became a chill dog after a hike. So that got a lot easier for us to sort of just hang out certain places. But with her reactiveness, it can be tricky with other dogs there too. So we don't really get to go most places, but it was nice because my aunt had a condo. We would all go back there and hang out, and
Mhm.
she could sit on the deck and chill out. And that was kind of our post hike thing, was just hanging with friends and cooking together after a hike and talking
Mhm.
about how awesome it was that we survived this awesome hike.
Is there any issue when you're done hiking with her on a really, really cold day? You get her in the car, but you can't turn the heat all the way up? Or does that not bother her going from a super cold environment to a car that's going to get really warm?
No, that doesn't seem to bother her.
Hmm.
She has like a hammock in the back that sort of cuddles her up a little bit, I think, too.
Wow. Living the
That's the only
pampered
time
life.
she's got, I mean, people joke, I'm like, oh my, I have stairs now. I have stairs I go up into the car that she has to get into the car with and her flat hammock. It's
Yeah.
like ridiculous,
I
but
think that's what I'm getting for Christmas is stairs to get in my Jeep.
Right?
At my
yeah,
age, I need that. I have a walker, right? It's made out
a
of
walker.
carbon, and you can fold it up and put it in your backpack type of walker. My one daughter is getting for me, and then maybe stairs to get into the Jeep.
Oh,
Right.
you know what? That reminds me, there is uh an emergency carrying thing that you can have for your dog
Hmm.
that I didn't get
Yes.
until a couple of years ago because I always thought I have friends with me most of the time when we're hiking with Roxy, and they'll be able to help me carry her out. And then one of my friend's dogs got injured, a very heavy dog. It was like 80 pounds, and we didn't have something like that. And it was really hard to carry them out. Like she did the fireman carry with it over her shoulder, but it took us like hours to go like a mile. It was really hard.
Wow.
So I learned really quick. I was like, I'm going to carry that, especially now, even though all we can do is like short, flat hikes. I'm still going to use, it's called Fido Pro, I think,
Yeah, I'm
the one that I
checking it out
have.
right now. Here's
Yep.
the Fido Pro Airlift emergency
Yes.
dog rescue sling.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I carry now with her. Just because even if it's a short walk, she's having leg issues. If she can't make it, it's easy. Like you can put them on your back and you have to practice with them. I've practiced with her a few times at home, putting it on her and letting her, so she doesn't freak out when I hold her. And she's pretty
Mhm.
calm with it. So I don't think it would be a problem. But I would
Yeah.
definitely suggest, if you can, to get something like that for your dog, especially heavier dogs, because, and if you're on your own, it's really going to be hard to carry them out, and not all rangers will come and help. Some will, but it's really up to them. So,
Yeah. You might as well fake your own injury to get your dog out.
Yeah. The first thing
Mhm.
I'm
Not gonna say
seeing when I check out the Fido rescue harness is you got to choose either you're carrying out your dog using the harness and leaving your backpack behind, or you're taking your backpack and leaving the dog behind. Because
not at all.
yeah, I know. I mean, you're going to obviously carry your dog out, but this is definitely goes better with two people.
Yeah.
Somebody to carry the packs out, somebody to carry the dog out, probably switch out, off, on and off on your way
or you
out.
can put your backpack in the front,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
a baby carrier. But you might want to empty some things out.
Yeah. Then you end up falling on your face, going down the devil's path, and
Dog's laughing at you. Freaking
somebody's
loser.
somebody's got to carry you and the dog out. No. Well, I mean, obviously it's a big responsibility taking a dog into the woods like this, and you take it seriously, and we appreciate that. And
Thank
I
you.
hope all these pro tips you have get relayed to our listeners and others so they can hike responsibly and comfortably with their companion.
Definitely. What's your post hike bruise and bites?
Bruise and bites.
Anything?
I think I already said. I already said Mornings Cafe last time. I love this place called Bettina's. I think it's in Phoenicia. Let me just double check. But I don't think it's a post hike. Maybe a pre hike. I would say Bruise and Bites. They have such
that's good.
breakfast. Yeah, Bettina's in Phoenicia. It's also my grandmother's name, so I love it there.
Okay, I will put that in there as well. So excellent. Well, Diana, I really appreciate you joining the show. This is fantastic information. I logged in all the information, so there's links in the show notes if anybody wants to access this information that Diana has given us. We're talking about, shell jacket, paws, fly collar, rough gear jacket, insurance, sling. We have everything as well. It's great that you came on and brought your knowledge of winter hiking with dogs, because it's not easy. I got to admit, it's not easy. We can't hear, they don't say anything to us. We can't tell what they're feeling and stuff like that at times. And sometimes we just want to bag the peak and we don't look at our dogs. So I would say, with Diana's knowledge and experience, to pay attention to your dog, to listen, to look at your dog, feel what they're feeling. And if you have to turn around, turn the fuck around. Don't don't just back that peak and say, once again, there could be a problem. So thank you, Diana, for joining us. I really appreciate it. Take your time.
No problem.
We had a great time once again. And just to let you know, you hold the record for the longest podcast that we've had, 2 hours and 49 minutes.
No way. Oh my gosh. Well, I guess I'm not surprised. Once you get me talking about like dogs and stuff, I can't stop. I go on rants and if anybody needs any other information, if I just rambled too much and got confusing, you can always message me on Instagram too. And I'm happy to help, in any way possible, even if it's about injuries and stuff too with dogs, because I've had some experience and it's scary. So, if I can help in any way, please reach out.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. And let's hope Roxy and you, once again, you're having your surgery coming up. So hopefully you pull through it and stuff and kick ass if you can. So
yes, I can't wait to get back on the trails. That's my goal is to still be able to winter hike, hopefully in February. So
hopefully we'll see you out there. So have a good night, Diana. Really appreciate it.
Hey everyone, I just want to thank you for listening to the show. If you enjoyed the show, subscribe and throw down a smooth review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any podcast platform that you use. You can also check daily updates of the podcast, hikes, hiking news, and local news on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the official website of the show. Remember this. You gotta just keep on living in the Catskills, man. Livin.
Wicked, 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 wicked.